Greetings everyone, this is Alexandra. Welcome to Alexandra ESL. Now imagine this, you're a new teacher, no structure, no clear curriculum, no real guidance, and as Jeff said, I had nothing to hang on to. In this part, you'll see what happens when you're left alone in the classroom and how that actually builds you.
Were you told how to teach? Or did they give you, a lot of room for creativity?
That's a good question. That's a very good question. And unfortunately, when I started as an intern, and I had those 3 classes that I told you about earlier, when I started teaching English at a high school, and I was the intern, I was given a mentor teacher by the supervisor of the school, and the principal or vice principal, I don't recall now who gave me the assignment, but I was given, that was part of the program, is that as an intern, I was told, well, you will have a mentor, and your mentor can help you take the curriculum and help you learn and apply the skills that you need in the classroom. My mentor was, he had taught for a few years, not very many. I think it was less than 5. And so he was still learning a lot about teaching, but he also had the kind of personality, and I think maybe even the kind of philosophy. I never did talk to him about it, but I worked with him for a number of years, so I was able to learn more about him later. But you learn best by doing. And so he introduced himself to me. We had a few conversations, and he gave me, he looked at what I was assigned. I had to teach freshmen and sophomores, 9th and 10th years. And he didn't really give me any input on what to teach. They had a very general guideline for the kind of principles we were supposed to teach. You know, you're supposed to teach grammar, and you need to teach writing, and you need to teach reading, and that's about it. And I had, in my mind, I had like 100% freedom to teach whatever I wanted in whatever way I wanted. Well, when you're a brand new that's really a dream scenario for an experienced teacher. But it put panic in my heart because I had no real help in terms, no outline. I didn't have any curriculum notebook that I was supposed to use. I had nothing to hang on to, nothing to get me started or point me in any direction. I didn't even know what was taught the year before, so I could build on that going to the year that I was teaching. So if I was teaching a 9th grader, I didn't know what they had in the 8th grade. I didn't know where they were supposed to be to go to the 10th grade. And so it was kind of like, it's all up to you. So that was added pressure. That was very, very stressful added pressure. That is what motivated me to keep learning. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Did he give you his feedback?
And that was the other part, is that he was also, as my mentor, he was supposed to come and observe me and give feedback. And as I recall now, thinking back on it, I probably saw him in my classes maybe once every 2 to 3 weeks.
Oh no.
So I was really struggling.
Wow.
And it was a very challenging time. It was very stressful. And when he did come to see me to observe a class, he didn't really provide me what I would call constructive criticism, constructive support. we would just have a little chat. And so I didn't get any real specific kinds of assistance, you know, either with skills or with skills of teaching the curriculum or with skills in terms of teaching strategies. That's what I was hoping for. That's what I was expecting, but that is not what I received. And so as I reflect on it, as I reflected on it many times over the years, I realized that he was not a real effective mentor. I came to that conclusion. Which also then, years later, after I finished my career and worked at a local university, at Portland State University in the teacher education department, I was assigned to be a coordinator of mentor teachers that were working with student teachers in our program. And because of my experience, I approached the mentoring process very differently, very intently, very assertively, and I tried to be the mentor that I never had.
And from what I understand, your students gave you their feedback, or kind of you could see the dynamics of the class, how they behaved and how they learned from you, and then, you know, their emotions, their reactions.
I would have to say that as I grew up, that one of my, I think, inborn skills or inborn part of my personality, part of my nature, is I've always been an observer of human nature. I like to watch people and listen to people and try to determine through my senses, you know, my hearing, my seeing, why people do the things they do. So I've had that interest in human nature since I was born, is the way I see it. And so, yes, I was a very astute learner about the nature of the students I had in my classes and how the dynamics of how they responded to my teaching. I was very aware of that. And so I became my own, in a sense, I became my own mentor. I became my own critic. And so I would, and so as I experienced day to day and even class to class, I would change strategies, or I would change content in order to try to do something more effectively. If I was in my first period of the day of teaching and something I had planned didn't go well, I would change it for the next class, as much as I could anyway, in the 5 minutes between classes. Changing took place in my mind, not in any dramatic way, but I made adjustments. I would tweak I would change, I would adjust a lesson, just to try to come up with a better response, what I wanted, the kind of response I was looking for. And so you learn a lot in teaching by trial and error. At least I did. And I think that for me, that was a system that I used for many years, is just learn by trial and error. I would but each time something didn't go well, that left a big mark on me. And I would not forget that was, you know, whether it was just a light kind of part of the lesson that didn't go well, or whether the whole lesson was a disaster, I would learn from that. And then I would change things. And so as I would do my preparation, and since I did not have a lot of teaching experience going into the first year or the first 2 years or the first 3 years, I was spending an enormous amount of time preparing, mainly because I didn't have any real guideline to follow. And so I was having to create every lesson that I taught. for the first time.
So here is my takeaway. Sometimes there is no structure, there is no guidance or support. As Jeff said, I had nothing to hang on to. And still he continued. And I think this is where real teachers are built, not when everything's clear, but when nothing is clear, because that's the moment you stop depending on others and start building yourself.